There was a period when Mel Gibson's name carried a rare kind of gravity in Hollywood, the sort reserved for artists who seemed to transcend ordinary stardom. He was not simply a successful actor. He represented emotional intensity, physical commitment, and a willingness to go further than most. Audiences felt that when he appeared on screen, he brought something personal with him, as though each role demanded a piece of his inner life. His performances were charged with urgency and conviction, whether he was portraying a warrior, a conflicted hero, or a man grappling with faith. Fame came quickly and powerfully, reshaping his life before he had time to fully process its consequences. What followed was not a smooth ascent, but a complex journey marked by extraordinary success, internal pressure, and a lifelong effort to reconcile talent with personal balance. Early life and the formation of intensity. Born in 1956 in Peekskill, New York, Mel Gibson grew up in a large family shaped by discipline, faith, and strong moral boundaries. As one of 11 children, he learned early how to navigate competition, responsibility, and emotional restraint. When his family moved to Australia, the shift in environment and culture deeply influenced his identity, giving him a perspective that felt slightly outside the Hollywood norm. Acting was not an obvious destination, but once discovered, it offered a rare outlet for emotions that were otherwise difficult to express. Teachers and peers noticed a seriousness beneath his humor, a reflective nature that could turn inward. That emotional depth would later become a defining strength in his performances, but it also suggested an intensity that required care, grounding, and understanding to manage over time. Mad Max and sudden recognition. Gibson's breakthrough in Mad Max was both unexpected and transformative. The film's raw energy and stripped-down storytelling allowed his performance to feel instinctive rather than polished, and audiences responded to that authenticity. He portrayed a man shaped by loss and moral exhaustion, conveying emotion with restraint rather than spectacle. The success of the film brought international attention almost overnight, and with it came a public identity closely tied to toughness and inner conflict. While the role opened doors to major opportunities, it also established expectations that would follow him for decades. He was seen as intense, uncompromising, and emotionally charged, labels that both benefited and limited him. The speed of this recognition left little room for adjustment, placing a young actor under pressures he had not yet learned how to balance. Hollywood success and trusted stardom. Throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, Gibson became one of the most reliable leading men in the industry. Films such as Gallipoli, The Year of Living Dangerously, and the Lethal Weapon series showcased his range, allowing him to move between drama, action, and humor with ease. Audiences trusted him, believing in the sincerity of his characters and the emotional truth behind his performances. Off-screen, he appeared steady and grounded, known as a family man, guided by faith and discipline. That public image reinforced the idea that success had not altered him, even as professional demands intensified. Few considered how exhausting it might be to maintain consistency under constant scrutiny. Behind the scenes, the effort to live up to both personal values and public expectations quietly grew heavier. Independence, faith, and risk. Following Braveheart, Gibson sought greater independence by forming his own production company, allowing him to pursue projects driven by conviction rather than convention. This freedom led to deeply personal work shaped by faith and moral inquiry. While some of these projects resonated strongly with audiences, they also sparked debate, placing him at the center of intense public discussion. Admiration and criticism often existed side by side, reinforcing his image as a polarizing but committed artist. What remained largely unseen was the emotional toll of standing alone in creative conviction, particularly when public interpretation differed from personal intent. The experience reinforced how easily complexity can be flattened in public narratives. For Gibson, independence brought both fulfillment and vulnerability, revealing how artistic risk often carries personal consequences beyond the screen. Quiet strain behind public confidence. As years passed, those close to Gibson noticed subtle changes. Periods of withdrawal, emotional fatigue, and heightened sensitivity suggested a man carrying unresolved weight. The pressures of fame, combined with long-standing personal challenges, began to surface more visibly. Though he continued to work, the balance he once maintained became harder to sustain. Public appearances sometimes reflected strain rather than ease, and the effort required to remain composed grew increasingly demanding. This was not a sudden collapse, but a gradual erosion, shaped by years of intensity without adequate rest or reflection. The image of strength remained intact for many observers, yet beneath it was a person struggling to reconcile inner turmoil with external expectations. It was a reminder that endurance, without care, can quietly become exhaustion. A public turning point. In the mid-2000s, a highly publicized incident altered the trajectory of Gibson's career. What might once have been a private reckoning instead unfolded under intense scrutiny, reshaping public perception almost immediately. The response from the industry was swift, and professional opportunities diminished as trust fractured. Gibson later acknowledged long-standing personal struggles and sought help, beginning a process of accountability and recovery. The moment marked a shift from myth to humanity, revealing a person facing the consequences of unresolved issues under public judgment. While reactions were strong and often unforgiving, the experience forced a profound reassessment of identity beyond success. It was a painful but necessary confrontation, illustrating how quickly admiration can turn when complexity meets expectation, and how public narratives often leave little space for nuance. The long work of repair. The years that followed were marked by quiet effort rather than visible triumph. Gibson stepped away from prominence, focusing on recovery, reflection, and rebuilding trust, one relationship at a time. Professional opportunities returned slowly and cautiously, often in smaller roles or behind the camera. There were no grand statements or demands for forgiveness, only consistent work and personal discipline. He understood that credibility, once damaged, cannot be restored through words alone. Instead, he concentrated on stability, sobriety, and responsibility, recognizing that personal change mattered more than public approval. This period was less about redemption in the dramatic sense, and more about learning how to live differently. It reflected the reality that growth is often invisible, measured not by applause, but by sustained effort over time, later years, and a complicated legacy. In his later career, Gibson returned to directing with projects that emphasized restraint, reflection, and moral struggle. These works reminded audiences of his undeniable skill, while acknowledging that talent exists alongside imperfection. Today, he occupies a complicated space, neither fully restored nor entirely dismissed. He works selectively, spends time with family, and approaches life with greater humility shaped by experience. Aging has softened urgency, replacing it with introspection and acceptance. His story resists simple conclusions, offering neither a flawless comeback nor a permanent downfall. Instead, it stands as a human narrative of achievement, failure, accountability, and endurance. Beyond the myth and controversy remains a person still learning how to live with his past while moving forward, a reminder that even icons remain unfinished works,